Welcome to my post on the question of whether you can or should even try to charge or recharge a battery key or remote key for a car using a toothbrush charger or toothbrush charging station. I can tell you right away that it's pointless and no fun to try to do this. What I am going to show you now is why it doesn't work. Go ahead if you still want to take a look. Otherwise, my recommendation is to come to a conclusion about what you should do instead of messing around with a toothbrush charger in the hope that the key will be recharged after 3 days. The first picture showed us how I use a special ferrite core transformer to measure the high frequency induction voltage on these two chargers for the toothbrush and the mobile phone. And we can see that the first one was about 20 volts, the second one 10. On the first one I sawed off the pin at the top. You can get to it here. And on the last one, the mobile phone, it's about 0.9 or 1.1 volts, maybe a little higher, up to 2 volts. Yes, but my transformer at the top has 500 windings, and the small receiver of the induction coil or transponder coil of the key only has 100 windings, a factor of 1 to 5. So if you apply this voltage here in the immediate vicinity of a ferrite core of 20 volts divided by 5, you get 4 volts. Could be suitable for charging, but of the others aren't. So let's rule that out for now. In order to use this coil that we can see here to charge a 3-volt battery, it will of course be supplied with an excessive voltage of 4 volts. Try that when there are only 5 volts coming out at the top when touched directly. But if you have a housing in front of it, then virtually nothing comes through. The distance is at least twice as great again. So what to do? Best to do is nothing. I can show you a few more photos of what I measured. To wake it up so I can check everything, I soldered out the transponder coil, which is also an induction coil, with 100 turns and 200 ohms internal resistance, and held it up to the toothbrush charging station. It doesn't produce too much voltage in the form of direct high frequency voltage. So I would say that if you have to install this in a key, solder the good thing back in, then you have such a large distance that you won't even reach 1.7 volts of high frequency voltage. I attach a coil I wound myself as a secondary coil to measure the frequency in hertz or kilohertz of this toothbrush charger. Brush is at the top, on top of the pin, 13.25 kilohertz. Interesting. And now next I measured by placing the secondary coil underneath and the toothbrush fully on top, 50.7 kilohertz. So the frequency on the transmitted energy also changes. And I think to myself, this toothbrush charger is tuned to the power drawn. And if you don't draw the full power, it doesn't say anything. And for that reason, the extremely low power that the transponder coil needs is not drawn from the 20 milliampere hours battery attached to it. It doesn't draw anything at all. It won't react at all. That is why you think I had to wait 3 days. But well, you can wait a long time. My ignition key is in the ignition lock, and what's hanging out of it? Yes, I tried everything I could to use the old housing, sand it down and solder a cable to the side. Once I had on the transponder coil, I measured the frequency that was being received there. And secondly, I soldered it directly parallel to the battery, and then I checked the voltage there. It was interesting that at the beginning I had deliberately discharged the battery a little, and the car displayed the message, "Charge battery." That's great. Now a symbol like that is displayed. Now I'll do it again right away. But the thing is, these batteries recover in a short time. So then the threshold, I don't know exactly what it was, maybe around 2.8 volts or so, was exceeded. And then this message no longer appeared on the car's display. Nevertheless, I checked and measured again. And in the end, it turned out that once 125 kilohertz is applied as the charging frequency at the ignition lock when charging takes place there, i.e. energy is drawn off. The battery was charged to around 3 volts after 10 minutes of driving. In other words, anyone who wants to rely on 3 days of charging with a toothbrush charging station is out of luck. So I said it's quite simple. In a car like this, I estimate that the ignition key is now fully recharged in between 10 minutes and half an hour. And I was able to open the car from a distance of 10 meters. Yes, and if you don't want to try checking your battery first, you can buy a new clip-on housing. Swap the emblem from the old one to the new one, or buy a new emblem to stick on. And then buy a new battery and simply swap the batteries if you know how to solder. I think this little job can be done quickly. You don't have to be a specialist. And that's basically it. My behind information will appear here again from time to time. If you like it, please spread the word. If you don't like it, badmouth me, but spread the word anyway. The main thing is that this unique selling point, Arcus Universe, spreads around the world, and at some point someone thinks that's interesting. Well, talk again sometime. Bye, Joe.